Hey, Decide Destiny crew, Carl Spreedy's here. Thanks for joining me for another Decide Destiny Daily Dose. Decide that now is not the time to bite your tongue. Now is the time to use your tongue for the good. Now is the time to use your speech, use your heart, use your soul, use what you believe in your heart and soul, and the goodness within you and the love for the betterment of humanity, for the future generations that are going to have to deal with many complex things. The World Health Organization themselves said that mental illness is going to be the biggest impact on our economy going forward. So use your tongue, use your mouth, use your voice, because everyone's got a voice. And the thing is, a lot of us think that we are alone. We get into that sort of brainwave of thinking, you know, if I think, I might think this way, but you know, if I say this, then I'll get blasted. If I do this, I'll get, you know, if I question this, or if I open up a discussion, even in today's weird and wacky way of conducting society and community, if I say that, then repercussions are going to be had. I won't swear on here, but I'm sorry, but F that. You need to stand by what you stand for. You need to use your voice for the good, because if you don't, then what's going to happen? If you don't use your voice to cast light, then darkness is going to come in. And to use an example that we can probably all relate to, a familiar example is family. And when we think about family and we think about situations, and so say if you've got, I'll use a family dynamic, and you've got, you know, people treating each other in different ways, and someone comes into that family dynamic and they see someone is being abused verbally. So they talk down to this family member. They call them an idiot. They're rude. They're not respectful. They don't treat this family member like they treat the other family members. If you don't nip it in the bud, if you bite your tongue time and time again, then that sort of treatment, that behavior becomes normalized. That behavior becomes expected. That behavior becomes promoted. That behavior becomes the way of the world in that environment. So you need to understand that if you bite your tongue, every time you're biting your tongue, every time you're worried about saying something, every time and the thing is, if you're worried about saying something that is controversial, what isn't today? If you're worried about saying something, you really need to work out better ways of saying it, better ways of communicating it. You know, find different ways of, how do I say it? I've got all this passion and pressure and anxiety and stress inside me, and I just want to let it out. Find a better way of communicating it, you know? Hey, I respect what you're saying. And a great way to do this is if you are a leader, if you do have team under you, if you are a business owner or entrepreneur and you do have team, you know, you can even go to things like Toastmasters, where they teach you some of these things. They teach you the thing that, and I haven't gone, but I've heard this through someone who's been part of Toastmasters for a while. But you know, you go to Toastmasters, you go to network groups, you go to different places where you can learn these sort of relational skills. And one of them is something that my grandmother used, and it's, you know, I guess counseling 101. And it's when you go to say something of a constructive criticism, you say 3 positive things. So say someone is burping and farting around you, you know, and they're in that family dynamic, and it's a little bit rude and obnoxious. You might say, hey, I love seeing you when you come over. It's really good to see you, and I'm so happy that you're leading your life in the way that you're leading it, and you know, I'm really glad to hear about your job, and you know, I'm loving your jokes every time you come over. It's awesome. However, you know, when you kind of, you know, let a few things go, like a few farts and burps, it actually makes us feel a little uncomfortable. Well, me personally, it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. You know, I was just wondering if you could say, excuse me, you know, something like that. So just think of those environments. So going back to the family dynamic, it's reflected in every part of our society. What we accept and what we allow starts to become the trend, and it's in relationships as well. If you start allowing abuse in your work relationship, in your personal relationship, I've seen it in all relationships, in your familiar relationship, mother, son, brother, sister, whatever relationship, if you start allowing that abuse and disrespect to come in, then, and why do you think our parents, you know, were so big, or most parents, big on don't disrespect? Because if you can learn at home not to disrespect your parents, then you can learn how to not disrespect other people. Because as soon as you normalize that, then all tyranny runs rapid. So guys, make sure that you're using your tongue for the right reasons. You're not biting your tongue at moments where you need to. You know, it's that whole schoolyard bully thing. Are you standing up for that kid being bullied, or are you letting it go? Are you standing up for changes that are oppressing certain sectors of society? Are you standing up for division communication? Is the thing that someone's saying, is it conquer and divide, and you don't agree with that? Then stand up and say, I don't agree with that. You know, that's what's part of being in society. That's what's part of being in a democracy, is that you can have your say. And there's a great quote that I'd love to finish on, and it's by none other than Voltaire, and he said, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And I think that's essential, and a great way to wrap up this daily dose, guys, is really focus. Focus on that. Focus on the ability that you have with your voice. You might impact one person. You might give another person a bit of light in their day, where they can go around feeling like it's okay that they've got differences, they've got different opinions and views and feelings, or they are a bit different. It's okay, and that they're not alone. They're not a minority. You know, every minority has a majority of people in that minority that look to them. So just think of it in that way, and make sure that you're using that tongue for good things, and maybe for an ice cream every now and then. Anyway, guys, share this around if anyone else you think that might really inspire, maybe people that have a lot of feelings that are pent up, and it's just going to make them sick if they just shove it all down. I know that made me sick. That nearly took me out. So share it around if anyone else you know. And as always, guys, remember, decide your destiny. Cheers.